Hey everybody, my name's Ozone. I currently hold the top level account in all of Legends of Venari, and these are 10 tips that will help you become a more advanced Venari seeker. So for our first tip, it's don't use Aura berries. They're kind of a noob trap. The game actually starts you with 30 of these right here, but no other baits, and they do cost half of the other tier 1 baits. So it would look like that they're good to use. However, we can see, so I've spawned a Laticus in 2 different places, one on Aura, one on mushrooms. So if we go ahead and capture both of these, you will see that you actually get reduced experience and rewards for the one that was caught with the berry. Now, there are certain Venari that spawn only on berries. And so if you're trying to clear out maps and get rid of silhouettes so that you can see every Venari that is in an area, I would recommend doing it just for those. But in general, you never want to use these things for gold farming, right? You can see that I got 63 experience for this one caught on the mushroom and only 38 experience on this one caught on the berry. The berries are worth 60% of both XP and gold. So they're just not good, efficient use of your energy unless you're trying to catch something that's specifically caught on those, like Fire Lurkin or Air Viscerus, to name some examples. So this next tip will help you level quickly as well as make lots of gold so that you can buy the higher tier baits and hunt the rarest Venari. Tier 1 Venari are going to be your main source of gold, and I've put all of the ones that we've seen in the beta so far in this chart on the right. And you can see that they fall into 5 ranks as far as their experience and gold rewards that I've labeled S through D, not to confuse it with the actual tiers of 1, 2, and 3. So whenever you spawn a set of Venari, you always want to pick the ones that are going to be the highest gold and experience if you're trying to min-max the game. So over here on the left, you can see that I've spawned a Nalawan, a Laticus, and a Eurisi. And from my chart, I can see that Nalawan is an S tier. So I'm going to pick him and go ahead and catch him because the other two just aren't worth as much. And this is going to help you maximize the amount of gold that you get. And I suggest always catching the highest reward tier 1s unless you're just trying to clear out a map and see all the Venari are there or being a completionist. I cannot emphasize enough how important collaborative gameplay is in Legends of Venari. There's just an absolute ton of information that you need to get your hands on to hunt tier 2 and 3 Venari. And as a solo player, you just don't really have enough data in order to do that. So if you haven't already, join a guild or at least get a small group of friends and work together while playing the game. If you don't know where to get started with that, the Venari Discord has a guild recruitment channel. I'm also going to plug the guild that I run called the Kingdom. We have our website over here on the left as well as the Discord on the right, where you can see players are constantly sharing tips and tricks, locations of tier 2s, combos, etc., etc. We're open to everyone. The Discord link for our Discord is down below, and we even have passes for rental if you can't afford a pass of your own. So join up, work together, and you're going to really improve your odds of catching the best stuff in the game. Next tip is to increase your energy cap as fast as possible, which is really important because it only caps out at 100. You gain 1 energy every 5 minutes. So that means even at 100 energy, after you don't play the game for 8 hours and 20 minutes, you've begun to waste energy if you're trying to be min-maxy like me. So in the beta, the energy cap increases are tied to specific progression points, which are the world levels. The world level is shown up here by this XP bar. And you can see that I've reached 100, so I'm 10 in every zone, but this will reflect the world level that you're at. So when you reach Tekka 3, 6, then you get increases. the first time you travel to the second region. As soon as you arrive at Morella Town, you'll get another bump because that's world level 1. You'll continue to 5. Same thing when you enter the third region. As soon as you get to Shores, you're going to get a small energy bump. And then once you have all 3 regions at level 7, it doesn't matter the order that you go in from there. So you have to progress from Tekka to Pelino all the way through. But then the last 3 bumps in energy cap, you can complete in any order as you raise them all up to level 10. The most recent patch added a brand new feature to the map that has made it way more important to encounter every Venari in an area than it used to be, because we have silhouettes of the species now rather than just question marks. And this allows us to narrow down if there's a T2 or 3 in the area. So for example, here in City, if I click on the +15, it brings up all of the Venari that I've encountered in the area, and you can see I have a single silhouette left. And I know that it's a Hylatrux because I've already encountered one there. And after putting down hundreds of T1 bait in this area, I can basically guarantee that it must be a higher tier Venari, either a 2 or 3. And then I can make a better guess with the bait in that area to try to lure it out. In fact, because I know Hylatruxes only spawn at night, I know not to attempt putting down a tier 2 or 3 bait in the daytime while trying to spawn this. As a counter example, if I look here in the groves where I've caught very few Venari, I have a bunch of silhouettes left, and I don't really know whether or not there's going to be any more T2s or 3s left in this area because I haven't spawned all of the T1s that are there. This next tip is a really simple one. There are 2 shops that have tier 3 baits. One is here in Morella facility, the other is in the Isha Nature Preserve. And every day there's always one bait that is 50% off. In mine, you can see it's 55 because I have a gilded pass, but even for a base pass, it'll be 50%. And T3 baits are really expensive. They're 16,000 gold a piece without the discount. And so it's really difficult to actually continually hunt tier 3 Venari and not run out of gold. So basically, my recommendation is you always buy the 50% off baits from each shop every single day, and you simply hunt the Venari that are going to spawn on that particular bait. This next tip stretches way back into the early alpha. I've been playing since day 1, and I feel like a lot of the new beta players don't know about this mechanic. So back in the February 18th patch notes, we can see that there was a change to the spawning that says non-guaranteed spawn rolls have significantly increased chances of spawning higher tier Venari compared to guaranteed rolls. So what that means is tier 1 baits always have a guaranteed 2 spawns here and here. And anything extra, so if you spawn 3, 4, 5, or 6, has a better chance of spawning a tier 2 than the 2 guaranteed spawns. Likewise, the tier 2 baits, which have 3 guaranteed spawn chances, if anything spawns in 4, 5, or 6, that has a better chance of spawning a tier 2 or a tier 3. And with tier 3s, which have 4, those 2 bonus spawns have better chances. So what does this mean for you as a player? It means you should always let your baits finish their full cooldown because you have a better odds of catching something rare on those bonus spawns when they happen. The only time you want to be catching things right away is when you're just trying to power farm T1s and you're just trying to burn through energy, or you're racing for cereals. But other than that, you should probably always let your baits go to completion so that you can potentially see those bonus spawns and have the best chances of spawning something rare. So mastering the combo system is really important. So when you discover a T2 or 3, they're going to have longer combos that are not set, unlike tier 1s. So a tier 2 is going to have 5 actions, and the actions that are in the combo are the same across players, but the order that they occur in is different. You'll usually hear other Venari players say, like, what's the ratio? Meaning what actions are actually there. So I'm going to click on this Earth Loru, and I already know from my main account that the combo ratio for this is going to be 1 feed, 2 play, and 2 fight. So we're going to bring a bait because it does have a feed action, and we're going to start the expedition. Now, knowing that it has 2 play and 2 fight, those 2 actions have equal chances, 40%, of being the most likely first action. So it doesn't matter what you pick. I'm going to go with fight, and fight was correct. So now the remaining actions are going to be 1 feed, 2 play, and 1 fight, meaning that there's a 50% chance, 2 out of 4, that the next action is play. I'm going to go with that. And once again, I was correct. So this one's hard. Unfortunately, now moving forward, there's 1 feed, 1 play, and 1 fight. So there's an equal chance of all 3. So I'm going to go with play again. And I was incorrect in that. So now, even though there are still 1 of each action left, technically, I know that that third action was either a feed or a play at a 50-50% chance. So I can think about that as there being half a feed action left and half a fight action left. And there's still a whole play action left. So half, 1, half. So the most likely action is still going to be play because the last one missed. And as you can see, I was correct in that. And now we're back to another 50-50. As we said before, there's half a feed action and there's half a fight action remaining. So those are an equal chance. Because this is not the ideal bait for Luru, it's only a T1 bait and doesn't have the highest odds of succeeding, I'm going to go with fight instead because it's an equal chance, but the success rate of fight is going to be higher than feed. And unfortunately, I was incorrect in that, but that has given me the full combo for the next try at this because I have 3 actions correct. And because this fight was wrong, and I know it was either fight or feed, I know this is feed, and for the next one, this will be fight. So I have effectively solved the combo in a single try. Moderate odds overall. So we probably don't get lucky here. Oh my god, we did. That's actually really awesome. Super happy about that because these monkeys are still cereal. So there's number 18, which is pretty sweet. So this next tip is going to dig really deep into potential future content. And part of that starts with the fact that we now know what constellations do for Venari, and particularly that's affect certain stats that got added to the game in this May 18th patch. So constellations affect power, intellect, defense, and fortune, while size affect their constitution and agility. So we can see over here on the stat page, the base stats of those and the level. These stats increase per level based on the rarity of the constellation that it has. So this Luru has a Silix constellation. And how is this going to affect future content if we don't actually have PvP and raids yet? Because the stats don't matter. Well, you do need to release Venari in order to get essence. So to power them up, right, you need essence. And the only way to get that is by releasing tier 2 and 3 Venari. I would get 10 for releasing this because it's a tier 2. And so I'm going to want to eventually have the best constellations on any given Venari and also have enough essence to level those. So looking at the rarity that we know for constellations, we can see that Silix is actually a common. So if I were to look at my inventory of, say, these monkeys, then I would see that I have several common constellations, several Silixes, while, say, the Cora, right, is an uncommon. So if I were going to release any of these, which I'm not going to, don't ever release cereals. They're super cool to have and they're very rare. Then I would want to release the more common Constellation ones that I've caught, so I can future proof and likely have the best stats for any future content. So for the final tip in this video, it's to show up and go all out during the events that the Venari team puts on at a pretty regular cadence, especially the collaboration events, because they have bounty boards. So the one that's currently going on as I record this is the CyberKongz collab event, and it has $5,000 in USDC as well as around $5,000 worth of CyberKongz gilded passes and alpha passes available to win. And all you have to do is catch the event Venari, certain amounts or certain constellations or whatever, and be the first to do so, and then claim that bounty, and you literally get paid. Additionally, the event Venari are gone, right? Once the event is over, they're no longer catchable forever, so they can end up being very, very rare. And as a perfect example, if we look over here on Venari Decks, which is this really awesome website, shout out to Swooty who makes this. It helps keep track of all the Venari populations within the game. And if we look at the T3 Oros, the Lightning and the Nature ended up with supplies of 400 and 302 respectively. They were really hard to catch. And 302 is actually the lowest supply of a T3 that we've seen in the game yet. If we compare that, there were 500 of the alpha T3s available of each species, or sometimes they get a little rare because people release them. So this Nature Nitri has had 3 released, and that's why its supply is lower than the ice version. But regardless, this is actually the rarest T3 in the entire game right now. There are T3s with lower supplies, but those are beta ones that aren't out of the game yet, right? These are still catchable, and that supply is going to continue to increase as time goes on. So long story short, participate in the events, catch some really rare, cool, unique Venari, and sometimes make some cash doing it. And that does it for all 10 tips that I have to become a more advanced Venari seeker. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you watching the whole thing. I know it was a lot of information, but if you enjoyed the content and you found it useful, please make sure to like and subscribe so I know to continue to make this type of content. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.